going on, guys? Snake Eyes here, playing some more Dark Souls 2. And in this video we're going to be doing a weapon showcase, and the weapon we're going to be showcasing today is the Spider Silk. Now if you don't know how to get this weapon, all you have to do is trade the soul of the Duke's Deer Freya to Weaponsmith Artifacts. That's pretty much all you need to do, and as soon as you do that, that's pretty much how you get this weapon. Now we're going to go ahead and go into the details of it. Since I've gotten it, I've upgraded mine to +5, so my base damage is at 195. It has 100 in the counter strength, it does 10 points damage per hit, it has 30 durability, and it weighs half a pound. The requirements for this weapon is that you need 5 strength and 20 dexterity, and it has an S scaling in dexterity only. There are a couple of pros and cons to this weapon, more pros than cons if you can believe it or not. One of the pros is that its special attack actually pierces through shields. That kind of just segues into the next thing that I want to talk about with the strong attack and the regular attack. When I was just messing around and looking at them, there was actually not that much difference in speed as far as doing the regular attack to the slow attack. Now I think if you slow it down frame by frame, the strong attack might be 1 or 2 frames slower, but all in all it's not really something that you really notice right off the bat. So to be honest, in my opinion, that's actually something that's really good, because since they both somewhat look alike and they're not really telling as far as which one is which, for people who are using shields, this might throw them off because they're not going to know exactly when you're going to throw a strong attack, and all in all can kind of keep them guessing. And like I said, that's something that I thought was a huge pro. Another pro is that when you pair this up, or when you side this up with any of the other rapiers in its class, this is actually the second longest rapier in the entire one, the S-Stock being the first one. But the difference between the two is that the S-Stock is actually a strength build weapon. This one is pretty much pure dex, and even though its base damage isn't the highest, the fact that it has a special attack and the fact that it's actually the second longest is something that you might want to consider when you're picking up a rapier. The only con that I can think of this weapon is that the base damage is pretty low. Granted, it does come with a special attack, so that's kind of a balancing factor with it. All in all, if you're going to use this weapon as a main one, it's only really good if you go to low level PvP. I haven't really done any PvP with maxed out soul memory character, but to be honest, I wouldn't expect it to do very well, only because people at that point in time have really high defense, and the fact that this one has some pretty low physical base damage is something that kind of makes this a low level weapon rather than a high level. With that being said, I was going to do it either way it goes, but the fact that this one was actually requested kind of made me want to do this one a little bit more sooner. The person that requested this video actually had a pretty good setup that he wanted to start using as a build, and that's the Dark Drift with the Spider Silk. Both of those weapons have shield piercing attacks, and in all honesty, using those two weapons together is actually something that's kind of pretty cool, and it's kind of something that I've been wanting to try myself. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but like I said, it's kind of something that I do want to try. The setup that I was using, and it was actually a pretty decent setup, was I was using Flynn's ring, the Ring of Blades +1 since I'm only in the first new game, the old Leo ring, and the third dragon ring. Now, using all those items together, that's pretty much me trying to boost up my attack rating as much as I can. With Flynn's ring, the lighter your equipment load, the more attack that you get. With the Ring of Blades +1, obviously you get more in overall attack rating. With the old Leo ring, since this weapon has an all thrusting move set, if you get a counter, you're just going to get added damage. And then obviously with the third dragon ring, because there's really not any other ring that I thought of using. I didn't go with the Chloranthy ring or anything like that because, one, this weapon doesn't use so much stamina when you actually attack, and two, if you're spamming your moves like that and you need the fast stamina regen, then that's kind of something that you might want to substitute one of those rings out. But the ring selection that I picked right here, like I said, boosts up the attack rating. I think I was using the engraved gauntlets too, so pretty much using this weapon as a main one was completely viable because of the fact that the rings were complementing it, and I just had my equipment set up to maximize attack rating all in all. That's kind of something that I used, and I was actually doing fairly well with this. You might want to try it out for yourself. Another thing you can try is the Dark Drift with the Spider Silk. What I would do though is I would use the spider silk on the offhand rather than on your main hand. Mainly because, and I haven't tested it, but I'm pretty sure if you offhand a rapier, then you get a parry animation instead of the strong attack. And then I'm not really too sure what the moveset is if you have a katana on your offhand. So like I said, I'm not really too sure. It might not even make a difference, but in all honesty, I would rather offhand the rapier anyways, just so I can get the parry animation or the parry move. But like I said, that's completely up to you to fool around with and make that decision on your own. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I really do like this weapon. This is kind of something that for some reason for a very long time I didn't want to use. I thought it wasn't really worth the material. Now that I finally got it and used it, it's actually something that I really do like. And surprisingly enough, nobody has ever made a video on the spider silk. So in a way, I'm happy to be the first one to do it, but I'm also kind of surprised and a little disappointed that this weapon doesn't really get shown that much love. But either way it goes, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, take care.